Hero time starts now.
Shall we move on? Case number 11 involves Balunga. Believe it or not, this thing is not filled with hot air, but some of the people in this story are. You're gonna have to trust me. It'll make some sense as we go along. Emphasis on some. A lone cosmonaut realizes there's no fuel and spots a strange being outside the probe. The ship unfortunately ends up landing in the Sea of Japan. Yuriko and Jun fly out to investigate. It crashed and no one has found a trace, but they spot something on the shores of the beach. A lone balloon. Jun discovers the plane's fuel is empty. But how? I don't know. Ippei's kind of been dropping the ball as of late. I wouldn't trust him.
Ippei! 一平、お前ガソリンどんだけ入れたんだ？
どんだけって満タンにしましたけど。おかしいな。
Later he finds the strange balloon-like being on the plane. They look at it and Ippei says it's clinging to the cracks of the radiator. They drive it into town and Jun says the car's gas tank is now empty. What the hell's going on here? The balloonga inflates and gets bigger. Jun thinks it's feeding on energy. It's nearly engulfed the car, which begins to float. The space balloon leaves the car and gets bigger. Looks like a giant floating kidney stone. The cops try to shoot it with no luck. Ippei has to be operated on after getting injured saving Yuriko. And no, I didn't hear a thank you from her either, that ungrateful. Jun shows Yuriko a dossier on someone who found the same balloonga 20 years ago in the mountains. Apparently it's spores from a meteorite. Balloonga is massive now and the city is evacuated. The Air Force tries to open fire, but their missiles do nothing but feed it. Yuriko soon loses the old man in the crowd. Patients must be moved to another safer location, which is bad news for Ippei. If Yuriko doesn't find the old man soon, Ippei might die. The next day they spot a balloon and remember seeing the balloon by the shores the same day the probe crashed. Coincidence? I think not. They find the old man with the balloon. He says Balloonga is not a monster and that attacking it is not the right way. The doctors prepare to do emergency surgery on Ippei with backup generators. A typhoon hits and does not blow Balloonga away like it would any normal balloon, but instead makes it stronger. The old man says it must be returned to space. The UN fires a rocket into space to create an artificial sun which Balloonga floats toward. The power returns and Ippei can be safely operated on now. Sure enough, Balloonga does indeed return to space following that artificial sun.
バルンガは太陽と一体になるのだよ。太陽がバルンガを食うのか、 バルンガが太陽を食うのか。
まるで全問答ね。
Case number 12 is about a big bird, a very big bird. No, not that big yellow bird on that street. But a boy does learn an important lesson from this bird, as you'll see as we go along. One night the zookeeper makes his rounds only to discover the animals have all been replaced by nature documentary footage. Some flying something or other flies overhead and the camera shakes, implying an attack, I guess. The next morning all the cages are empty. All the animals have disappeared and they find an unconscious zookeeper.
どうした何
鳥を見た。
Meanwhile, the boy runs through a village, but suddenly the whole town is alerted to a strange ship in the harbor. It looks like an old Viking ship. Of course, the team is called in to check it out. The villagers think it's a ghost ship. No one is aboard, but signs suggest people were on it. They find a book, but don't know the language. When suddenly the boat moves. It begins to melt and sink, probably both. The boy named Saburo makes friends with a small bird which lands on his hand. He names it Kuro, even though it's a white bird. That night, as he sleeps, the bird flies off. Aw, he just ditched him. Meanwhile, Professor Ichinotani studies the book and discovers it's nearly 1,000 years old. He thinks the strange occurrence has something to do with the fourth dimension. The last line in the book is, "I saw a bird," much like the zookeeper said before. They find stories of a giant bird responsible for other strange historic shenanigans. They discover a ship in India disappeared in the 10th century, which must mean the one they found came to the present somehow, and the mystery bird came with it. Saburo reunites with Kuro as they look out in the ocean. Kuro flies away and Saburo chases after it, which lands in the water and almost drowns. They wash up ashore both alive by a miracle. Or maybe the bird saved them?
クロ、昨日はどこ行ったんだい？ずいぶん心配したぞ。おや、血がついてる。何があったんだい？どうしたんだい？あ。
Some seamen corner Saburo and thinks he took their ship. Turns out Kuro brought it to him because he wanted it. Kuro attacks the brutes for picking on a boy and they run. Ippei gets a call about it and the team is alerted about the bird. Prof tells them to quarantine this bird and the police show up to say they want the bird.
Just give me the bird.
We can't. This is a family show.
Saburo runs after Kuro once they take it away from him and then the bird grows exponentially, breaking out of its cage. It grows giant size and wrecks the building and then the town by flapping its wings Rodan style. Kuro flies off and Saburo is miserable. Jun does his best to try and console him. "Can I have a smoke, mister?" "You mean may I have a smoke?" And sure. Kuro flies to the shore and over them again. Saburo calls out for Kuro and waves goodbye. He wants to go with him, but it flies off. Poor kid. I too want to fly like an eagle. To the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. Remo, are you sure that big bird wasn't related to you? Okay, just asking. Moody. Case number 13 is about Garamon. If you've seen this little guy before, then congratulations, you've seen at least one Ultra series in your life. This time, though, there's a bit of a difference. A big difference. We start with a boy hauling something in a cart with a little help from his friends. They call on the teacher to show something they found, which fell out of the sky. A meteorite. They ask an expert, but it says it's just iron, not a meteorite. The boy Mamoru insists it is a meteor as it floated down out of the sky. While this is going on, a Dellinger effect is taking place. No one can discover what's causing this abnormality. Professor Ichinotani works on the strange rock. Turns out it is a meteorite, an alloy that's very strong and not of this earth. An assistant calls him back and shows him the strange transmission. He has to go where the rock fell and the radio wave disappears. The place has been a hotspot for meteors or Gradama, Grandma, Gridman.
ガラ玉隕石のことを土地の者はそう呼んでるんですよ。
They head to where the meteorite hit. Prof asks the guys to look around for a piece of the meteorite, if any. Suddenly a boat with two ladies on it hears strange static on their radio. Another meteor falls to Earth and heads right for the boat. It lands smack into the water, which causes a tidal wave to flow over and break the dam. The giant meteor has a prize inside. If you think it's a giant monster, you guessed it. The strange radio static comes back and the monster makes its way towards the boat with the girls while flailing around all the while. Not sure if it wants to eat them or kiss them. With those big old lips though, you never know. Jun rescues them with the rope just in time. Yuriko, after being called in, thinks that the static is what's controlling this monster. Proth thinks the invader sent the waves first and then the monster. Kind of like we would a monkey or dog into space before a human. Jun thinks it must be some kind of robot, not a monster.
彼らはまず自分に代わってモンスターに命令を与える電子頭脳を先に送り込み、それからモンスターを打ち上げた。
だとするとモンスターは一種のロボットってことになりますね。
The big monster or robot then has a seizure because at the same time the lab boys are messing with the rock at the lab. It seems it's like a remote control. It tries to get over the dam and breaks through and trashes the electrical towers on the other side. Yuriko wonders if there's a way to block the signal, and the scientists try to. They use a big shielding net, which sure enough blocks the signal. The robot monster falls over and the narrator warns them that they're safe. For now.
これでモンスターの地球侵略が終わったのではありません。たとえ電子頭脳を破壊したとしても、有星人は第2第3の挑戦を仕掛けてくるかもしれないのです。
Case 14. Well, what do you know? Our old friend Pagilla is back. Looks like he got tired of the Arctic climate and is heading for a more, shall we say, humid one. At Haneda Airport, a plane is ready to land when suddenly it begins to freeze up in midair. Literally. It crashes onto the tarmac and the emergency vehicles head towards it. Some strange black smoke moves in at the same time. All of a sudden, the entire airport is frozen over. All the radars and towers are out. How could this be happening in the middle of the summer? Yuriko is up to her usual tricks to get the story. A kid tells her to look for her dad, who went missing a year ago and never came back.
だから何の用なのよ。
僕父ちゃんを探してるんだ。半年前に出稼ぎに出たまま梨の粒でさ、秋田から来たんだぜ僕。
ははー。それで帰らないから新聞にデカデカと書き立ててもらいたいと。
駐在のおっさんもそう言ったよ。父ちゃんぶったまげて現れるだろって。へい。
うん、これは案外いけるかもだわ。父を訪ねて3000里。私の記事は全世界に流れ、26億の読者の涙を。
早く上がっておいでよ。タクシー待ってんだから。
Meanwhile, Ippei is reading about the South Pole getting warmer after a Soviet-American uranium mining race.
なんだい。
もしもし。
困るな。
起きないな。どうしたんだ。アル中だ。
They discover he has a seasonal handbook, meaning that he came to Japan to work agriculture in the off-season. Odd. Yuriko tells her boss about the kid's story, and naturally he thinks she is dumb for this. He instructs her to find out why the airport froze in the summer instead. Yeah, Yuriko, even I gotta side with the boss man on this one. The latter is way more pressing. Ippei remembers Jun's trip to the South Pole, and Jun thinks that Pegula has come to Tokyo. Yuriko calls about it, but gets told by her boss Pegula died in a nuclear explosion in the South Pole. Or did they? The black smoke from before flies by again, and surprise, Pegula is live, and in Tokyo. Yuriko remembers they need Pegamin H, the moss growing in the South Pole that kept him away the first time. Unfortunately, the lab can't get the Pegamin H in time before the city is done for, so the military is going to attack it. The kid makes it to them somehow, and we discover that his missing dad is indeed the drunk man they have with them. Well, who could have guessed that? Jun and Ippei decide to take the plane to stop Pegula, but the man takes the plane before Jun can convince him not to. Some lab assistants wave him down and give him the Pegamin H, laced with explosives. He flies toward Pegula and through the black smoke. The plane begins to freeze up and he decides to sacrifice himself by flying right into Pegula with the explosive, destroying it for good.
さよなら。さよなら。
Case 15, Kanegan, the Coin Eater. I know it looks like a psychedelic mushroom with eyes, but trust me, you're not tripping on any shrooms when you watch this story. But it'd probably help if you were. One day a boy who loves collecting coins finds a small cocoon with a monster inside it. Or so he says. The coin boy takes it and leaves. Suddenly some rude construction workers run over the kid's stuff with a bulldozer. Pretty sure they'd get arrested for child endangerment. The coin boy, Kaneo, goes home and his dad, with a Hitler mustache, scolds him for being so greedy. His mom warns him that if he keeps obsessing over money, he'll become a Kanegan. He shrugs this off, and if you've watched shows like this long enough, you know what's gonna happen. He sees what he's become and freaks out, as do his folks. His friends tease him and later try to cure him. They soon realize that he has a counter on his chest, and if it reaches 0, he'll die. So now he has to eat money. Coins, to be precise. Well, that sucks. He later goes to a bank and is able to eat the coins dropped by frightened customers. The kids later train Kanegan to do tricks like ride a ball. They threaten to leave him to die if he doesn't try again. Apparently they're going to use him to make money. Well, that's just low. What kind of friends are you? The construction workers return, but the kids decide not to run away this time. They find Kanegan instead, who scares them half to death, so they run. They get in the bulldozer, but go in circles, and the bulldozer falls off the side of the cliff. When you're driving a bulldozer away from a coin-eating monster, you're shaking hands with danger. The kids, instead of getting the hell out of there, checks to see if the driver's okay. Kanegan then shoots into the air and floats down with a parachute. Wait, what? When he lands, the kid's back to normal. Have I mentioned this show doesn't make a lick of sense? When he comes back home, his parents have become Kanegans too. Oh God, here we go again.
Look, if you're not going to take this seriously, I'm out.
Case number 16. Garamon's back and there's gonna be trouble. Hey now, Garamon's back. That wasn't a joke, that's what's written in the file. I didn't write this. A strange man dressed in all black breaks into a lab and makes off with a piece of a meteorite. The same one that fell to Earth in episode 13. It literally floats out the safe through a window and to the thief. How he did that is anybody's guess. Jun gets a call from Yuriko about the electronic brain being stolen. Ippei comes in and Yuriko says it's emitting the waves again like last time, which means more monsters could be coming to Earth. Or were they robots? I forget. Thankfully the lab has spotted its location, but before they can get a hold of it, they're alerted a group of Garadamons are headed to Earth. They'll hit Tokyo soon and radio reports tell people to evacuate. They head out via helicopter to find the meteorite rock while more Garamons hit the Earth. Some in buildings, rivers, etc. Eventually, the scientists are able to wrap the meteor rock in tinfoil to block the signal. This causes all the Garamons to stop in their track and fall over. They find the thief and they discover it was an alien in disguise. It walks into the water into a hidden spaceship. It weighs them down, but they blast it instead for failing.
Don't ever make fun of my ass again.
What would you do if I sang out of tune?
Instead of taking over the world with that laser blast, the ship instead leaves the Earth. Why?
人類の科学がこのチルソナイトの電子頭脳を破壊することができない限り危険はまだ続いてるんだ。
Case 17 doesn't involve invading aliens or ancient monsters, but our girl Yuriko does get herself into a little bit of trouble. You'll see. During a crowded hustle and bustle in a big city, Yuriko trips and is nearly trampled in a crowded mass. When they stop, they notice something called the 1/8 Project. Yuriko sees a huge line for this project meeting, and she goes inside to find out what it's all about. Inside, we see many people ask about their plants, their babies, their livelihood. The clerks at the desk all try to assure them they'll be taken care of. This seems too good to be true.
現在の8分の1に縮小するんです。
人間をですか？
そうです。
人間を縮小するなんて非人道的だわ。
何？心配いりませんよ。人口密度の高い国ではどこでもやってる一種の人口対策です。そうでしょう。人間が8分の1になればスペースが何十倍にも使えるわけですからね。
でも。
いや、人間だけじゃありません。町も、うちも、道路も、すべてが8分の1です。したがって生活そのものは従来と少しも変化ありません。いかがです？8分の1計画に協力していただけませんか？
She refuses to take part, naturally, and is escorted out. When she doesn't come back, Jun and Ippei go inside to ask about her and where she went. Sure enough, she was shrunk down too. Bummer. I think this show just became Land of the Giants. The mayor of this shrunken town invites her in, and she wants to know where Jun and Ippei are. She's then given a code, which is her new name. Oh, great, now it's the prisoner.
I am not a number. I am a man, and don't you ever... Oh, wait, I'm number 5. In your face, number 6.
Yes.
She sees her camera and belongings are normal size, but she's not. The guards tell her she's under arrest for trespassing. They put her in a cage the size of a lunchbox and in a cell with a portly prisoner who offers to help her if she brings him back food. Unfortunately, he drops her in a lake and she floats away. Some nuns find it and decide to return it to the 1/8 Project. Yuriko wakes up and convinces them to take her back to Hoshikawa Airport. That's where Jun and Ippei work, if I didn't bring that up earlier.
ひどいわ。
手伝ってくださいよ。
そのみたいに風船なんかもらうからこういうことになるんだよ。チラシを運ぶのは女子の役目だぞ。しっかり持ってけよ。
はいはいよっ。よいしょさ。ゆりちゃんがいたらこの風船あげたのにな。
Guys, it's been one day. Why don't we wait 48 hours before we declare her a missing person? Before she can get their attention, they're called on another job, so they leave. She tries operating the big phone to call her boss, but he doesn't believe it's her. She instead writes a goodbye note on a big pen and paper. She then floats away in her case on the balloons. Not sure how she managed that, but whatever. Later, a giant-sized Jun and Ippei walk through the city! Actually, they're wandering through the 1/8 Project city. They call out for Yuriko, but she's not there. Oh wait, yes she is, she went back. She hears the cries for her and she calls back, getting their attention. They come to take her home, but she won't go back.
帰ってちょうだい。私はもうあなたたちと違う人間になってしまったのよ。もういいの。会いたくないから早く帰ってちょうだい。
バカなこと言うんじゃない。帰って一ネタに博士に相談するんだ。さあ、早く僕の手に捕まって。
いいの。私はこのままここの住人になるわ。寂しくなんてないわ。みんな親切にしてくれるし、とってもいい人たちばっかりなの。心配いらないわ。だから2人だけで帰ってちょうだい。
ゆりちゃん。
帰って。
何を言うんだ。
She runs away after deciding no one cares about her and gets trampled again in the same way as the episode began. So it turns out it was all in her head. Yep, this episode pulled the dream sequence card. She explains what happened to her and Jun tells Ippei to get the doctor. Poor girl, no one believes her. Maybe it wasn't a dream.
古い記録によると巨石文化時代の人類は身の丈18メートル 身の幅が5メートルもあったという。現在の人類はいつから、そして誰の手によってどういう理由で小さくなったのか、それはまだ謎のままである。
Case number 18 is a bit of an egg hunt. Some kids look for a mysterious something or other, while a new monster called Pagos is looking for a meal. The shiny kind. A truck hauling enriched uranium is caught in a rock slide, and wouldn't you know it, a new monster comes out of the mountain. Pagos. The truck is trashed and the uranium is lost. Later, a group of kids say how much they love their grandma, so they go looking for her favorite flower, bamboo blossoms. One of them finds them and they bring it back to her, a sazame bloom. She tells them an old tale about said flower.
この竹の花と、それから虹の卵を見つけるともう何でも願い事が叶うんですよ。
ばあちゃん、ずっと前みたいにあたいたちとイチゴ取りに行きたい？ばあちゃん、歩けるようになるといいな。そうだ、虹の卵見つけて頼んでみましょうよ。よし、
これお待ちって言うのに、これお待ちったら。
Meanwhile, our heroes, all three of them, fly via helicopter over the landslide. Obviously, Yuriko is chasing another story. One of the drivers is speaking crazy, likely due to head injury. The other says he's not sure what happened. The crazy one remembers seeing a rainbow before it happened. Suddenly, the place shakes and the power goes out. Yuriko then spots a rainbow. A gold rainbow. You'll have to take her word for it, the show's in black and white. The kids spot the gold rainbow too. Jun remembers the story of Pagos, the name of a primitive giant animal that attacked a uranium storage in Beijing. The kids ask the team if they saw where the golden rainbow went, but they don't believe the kids' story, so the kids storm off. Wait, didn't Yuriko see that gold rainbow? Meanwhile, the lab boys plan to use a neo-neutron missile on the new monster. The kids search for the infamous rainbow's egg, but something pops out of the ground near them. It's Pagos. The team spots it with binoculars, and it seems to be targeting the lab. The kids spot the enriched uranium that's shaped like a gold egg, so the kids go get it. But Pagos shoots fire breath, which makes them scatter. One of them pulls it, but it's too heavy to lift. The military's on the way with the new missile, and Jun realizes that this rainbow egg is the uranium capsule.
何？
こんな大きな虹の卵を見つけて、うんしょこうんしょこ。
虹の卵？
ゆりちゃん、そいつはもしかすると。
ウランカプセル。
よし、子供の位置を確認してきます。それを合図に。
頼みます。
Once they're out of harm's way, they fire the missiles, which harden up Pagos and he falls to pieces. The kids refuse to let the capsule go and says it will cure their grandma. Good thing it's in that capsule, or it would likely give your grandma and all of you cancer. Just when it seems hopeless, this happens.
行こう。
おばあちゃん、
リコ。
歩けるようになったのよ。歩けたのよ。
I'll bet you anything she was faking that wheelchair injury for insurance purposes. Oh well, happy ending all around. Case number 19. Now here's a real doozy. What happens when an alien comes from another world harvesting human bodies for who knows what? And here's the real kicker. They're from the far-off distant year of 2020! Ha 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 ha! Courtesy laugh. The Air Force is planning to launch their jets at an unidentified flying object. Hey, isn't that guy in charge of some science patrol or something? Nah. They watch the UFO on radar as the planes go to attack.
天野2さ。要するに君は空飛ぶ円盤がジェット氷海機を撃墜して飛び去ったというおとぎ話を我々に信じさせたいわけだな。
Meanwhile, people begin to disappear as some strange slime attaches to them as they vanish. Yuriko spots this and goes to report it to her boss. Naturally, he doesn't believe her. She then tells Jun about the story, and even he has trouble believing her. She shows him stories of other people disappearing as well, and Ippei says this is much like a sci-fi novel he read. Challenge from the year 2020. Jun reluctantly goes with the Air Defense Force Major Amano to check it out. Little do they know the gel is creeping up on Jun from behind. It soon makes him disappear right in the middle of the flight. Yuriko witnesses someone else disappear right in front of her and is issued a bodyguard. Oh, now you believe her. Ippei talks to Yuriko on the phone and tells her this gel is sent by an alien being named Kimur and is highly flammable. Thankfully, Yuriko is saved just in time and this guy sets the gel on fire. He spots the alien Kimur, but it escapes. He tells Yuriko his friend is Professor Kanda from the book, but he's had a mental breakdown and is in the nut house. Ippei tells Amano that the aliens come to Earth to transport themselves into human bodies. Ippei and Amano go to see Kanda, who was released from the hospital. They find his lab, but he was taken by the slime while working on something, possibly a cure.
一平君、ケイミニオドってなんだか知ってるか？
ケイミニオドですって？
博士が依頼した試作品が届いてる。
ケイミニオドが完成したんですか？万歳！
おい、一平君。
X チャンネル候補を出す元なんですよ。
なんだって？
Yuriko wakes up in the creepiest place to be, a carnival at night. She sees Jun and runs to him, but it's not him, of course. Ah, it's a dog turd with a body. I mean, Kimur. Ippei and Amano get the cops to help them by speeding. Smart. The cops shoot at Kimur, and it turns out it, regenerates and grows big. Ippei and Amano bring the cure to Tokyo Tower and have the crew use X-channel light wave to kill Kimur, just like in the book. It works. Kimur vanishes, and everyone's brought back to the proper time in a little teacup ride. Aw, I want to ride the little teacup ride.
I always liked the little teacup ride.
The cop sees more slime and steps in it. Then he disappears. Idiot?
多分大丈夫だろう。消えた！ない！助けてくれ！
Case number 20 involves an alien that's evolved from reptilian life, Ragan. But that's the least of an island's small problems as it begins sinking into the sea. Or is it? Yuriko is right on time to cover a new story, a volcanic eruption. She scoffs at this assignment, but then gets excited when it's related to a science discovery she read about. The boys take Yuriko to cover the story on Iwane Island. They spot the volcanic activity happening in the drink. But that's not all that's going on down there. When Jun and Yuriko arrive, they see Professor Ishii and his sister Fumiko being ridiculed for wanting to send out an investigation ship, as he worries the island will sink soon. Some of the fishermen went to check anyway and found fish floating everywhere. One of them shows Fumiko some kind of life form, like a cocoon or egg. What? Eggs again? Ishii asks to study it, and they reluctantly agree. Soon after, a fisherman is attacked and dragged into the water. They try to save him, and the man is hysterical. Ishii discovers it's an ancient creature, the Ragan from 5,000 years ago, way before humans controlled the world. Sure enough, it emerges from the ocean and attacks again that night. Jun and the others find the specimen has been stolen in the night. Ishii explains how the egg got here because of volcanic activity and the island may sink sooner than he thought. Jun and Yuriko go to alert the media and spot Ragan. They hide, but it hears them. Thankfully, it doesn't find them. Fumiko listens to some music, but is then attacked by Ragan. After she gets away, they regroup with Jun and Yuriko, but why did it stop attacking them? It seems it likes the music. It gets angry when the music stops and leaves, like it's growing in intellect. Suddenly an earthquake happens and Ishii's predictions are coming true. The villagers finally think the island is sinking. Oh, now you believe him! They try to evacuate, but Ragan blocks them off. Jun tries to distract it with his pocket radio, luring it away with music. Music seems to soothe the savage beast, but Jun is cornered on a cliff and then another earthquake happens. The shaking causes Ragan to fall back in the water. Everyone begins to evacuate the island, but Ragan comes back out of the water. Another one is hatching from the egg Ishii was studying, and Fumiko realizes what Ragan is after. She tries to return the little one back to Ragan.
取りにいらっしゃい。何にもしないわ。あなたの子供でしょ。
It takes the small one and returns to the sea. Everyone gets on the boats as the island crumbles. Ippei returns with the chopper just in time to save Jun and Yuriko as the island falls to pieces.
いつの日にか博士の予言通りに日本も海の中へ沈む時が来るかもしれないのです。